Well, we said we were going to do it here at Airforce, and we did it. We built one of the lightest snow bikes in the world, titanium frame, carbon fiber, everything on the bike. We got carbon fiber rads, we got a carbon fiber front fender. This is our own design of front fender. We're going to make them for KTMs. We have this one we're R&Ding for beta this year for snow bikes. It's shorter, it won't break off. We've got the carbon fiber skid that we worked with carbonsled.com out of Sherwood Park. We worked all year. I must have drove 10,000 kilometers there and back all year trying to figure out the geometries we wanted to use, how we're going to save the weight. And then I worked with Racetech Titanium, shipped parts back and forth all year, built a titanium frame. The whole bike ended up with all the titanium and the carbon fiber parts. It's 50 pounds lighter, okay? I lost 10 pounds also, and we're saving some weight of fuel. So my combination for myself personally is 65 pounds lighter than what we rode last year, which are these beautiful bikes right here. Nothing wrong with this bike. It's unbelievable. This is the 500, okay? But this is the 540, the one we talked about, the big torque monster. This thing makes 44 foot-pounds, basically from 3,800 RPM right across the board to 8,000 RPM. It just holds it. We developed an engine that makes torque. So with all that torque, we're gearing the bike totally different. We believe we aren't going to be revving it all the time. We don't have to take a whole bunch of fuel with us. What we did is we put this larger 14-liter tank on the front, okay? That only weighed a pound more than the tank that came with this bike. And then now we're only taking 4 liters in our jerry can, okay? So we cut the weight out of the jerry can also, and the plastic utility boxes on the back. We're just running a backpack that's been cut up. That alone is 9 pound savings right there, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you some close-ups of the skids. We're gonna show you some stuff. We're gonna weigh the bike here. We got another bike here, the same thing. It's just missing a front fender. And you guys just enjoy watching all this shenanigans. Okay, so this is the carbon sled skid we've been working on for the entire year, trying to get the geometries right. You know, I rode a lot of different bikes and different combinations, and I wanted something that was completely different, that would get up on the snow. And so we came up with this thing. You know, we're very proud of it. This thing is really light. It's 10 pounds lighter than the one that originally comes with the bike. And we didn't believe that we needed 2 shocks. I can't see a reason why. And I didn't believe that I needed to have a coil shock, for the fact that I play with a lot of suspension, do a lot of things, talk to a lot of people, but we ride mostly in the backcountry. We're not riding over chatter bumps, and we're not racing. So this whole thing is developed for us that ride in the backcountry and climb hills. And you know, we don't jump our bikes more than 10, 15 feet. I mean, we're not like Matichuk where we're just flying off of stuff. He needs that stuff, and you know, we don't need that. Now what we also did is we are running a 3-inch track, and I just had to change the drivers, and then everybody couldn't figure out how to make it all work. So I built these brake guards, and these brake guards, what they are is the diameter is smaller. So this track actually will fit in there instead of running into the brake guard. So we built those. We got some of those for sale if people are interested. And this is gonna be a hell of a fun year. We're super excited about these fenders. And the fenders, we all know that we snap them off continually. So what we did is we shortened the front fender, we cleaned the bike up, took the light that usually sits here, and we moved it down and put it in the fender. We're gonna be testing these the whole winter. And then if my team of guys like these fenders, what we're gonna do is we're gonna plastic mold inject these front fenders. We're gonna make them for betas, and we're gonna make them for KTMs. And we might have different light combinations that fit in the inside, but we're really proud and excited to run these lights on our front fenders this year. Super cool, makes the bike look cool. We designed the geometry of this fender from the SR71, Airforce Velocity Stacks, right? Airforce. And then the other thing that we've been working on is these rad guards. I've come up with a lot of different designs for rad guards, and you know, they're really annoying because they're always just clogging with snow. And what I did is I opened the holes up, and then I made finger holes so you can get your fingers in there and clean out your rad guards. I don't think they're going to heat up like the aluminum ones and cause the snow to stick. We're testing these for this winter, carbon fiber rad guards. And then finally, the other part that is the throttle body, because we have a way bigger engine now. Now it's a 540, right? So we ended up making larger throttle bodies. We have these on all of our bikes, and we've been riding up and down the highways. And now the final test is to see how they perform on the mountain. You know, if they're going to contract or expand, we don't know, but we got them on about 10 bikes. It could be very torturous for me, but we're doing it anyways. And the company we work with to develop all this stuff is Tempest 3D. They did a great job. Rob and I were on the phone, you know, for a solid year, probably 4 or 5 times a week, developing these products. Tempest 3D, thank you very much. So over the whole entire year, we ended up, we shipped the frame down to Racetech Titanium in the US, and man, we built frames all summer. 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames, and getting everything right, so everything fit properly. We ended up building head stays out of titanium. We got titanium bolts in there. The whole frame is titanium, titanium axles. Then I phoned up RP. I'm like, hey man, I'm building this lightweight bike. What can you do for us? And he's like, I'll help you out. And he built this titanium pipes, and that's how we're saving the weight. If you look at the bike, the whole thing is titanium and carbon fiber, right? And the grade of titanium we used is aircraft titanium. This is not the titanium that you usually build stuff out of. It's very, very expensive titanium, and it won't crack. People are like, oh, the titanium's gonna crack in the cold. This titanium is not gonna crack in the cold. This is United States military grade titanium. The other thing is, we went and I talked with Rod. I said, from RMR, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do, man? I'm building these really light bikes. What can you do? So we went back and forth, and Rod worked on the forks for me, and we shaved 7 pounds out of the front forks, which I think is totally incredible. I mean, how do you do that, right? How do you shave 7 pounds out of forks? We did it. So the forks are 7 pounds lighter. And then I went to P3, right? And I'm like, well, we're building these lightweight bikes. What can you do, right? So I talked to those guys. They sent us skid plates back and forth. They ended up making me this skid plate, which is lighter than any skid plate out there also. Like, we don't need to have a high impact skid plate. We're not racing across the rocks, and stones, and jumping into logs. Well, maybe we are gonna jump into logs. Okay, so this whole beautiful package that you see, we worked on for about 1.5 years on the engine. The engine produces a lot of torque. Right off the bottom, right to 8,000 RPM, this thing makes 44 foot-pounds of torque and doesn't fall down. So now we have all this torque. What we're gonna do is we're gonna gear the bikes totally different. When you have torque, you can use gear. A lot of bikes don't produce torque. We tried all different types of cams. We chased horsepower numbers until we figured out that was a dumb idea. We bored the heads different, and we bored these engines out to 540s. We're really proud of what we've done. We made our own cylinders, our own cranks, our own throttle bodies, programmed the ECUs, and we ended up with this monster of a bike. We built 5 of them this year that we'll be testing all winter, and they take us about 1 year to build. If anybody was interested in purchasing one of these bikes, we need at least 1 year's notice, because this shit doesn't happen overnight. What we have here is a 2022 KTM, their race bike. What is an SFX, okay? And here's the line on the 450, okay? And the 450 is an incredible bike, right? Now here's the line on the 540. I mean, you can see it's just totally crazy. And so what we did is we wanted to have the power on the bottom end, because when you ride a snow bike, you got to have the power on the bottom end. You don't get up and the high RPMs and wring these things neck unless you're in first gear. All right. A lot of guys don't ride around in first gear, I hope. I don't know. Now, we played around with the cams quite a few times. If we wanted more power on the top end, we'd lose it on the bottom, but that's just not the way we ride these bikes. But you can see the big torque gains here. So if you look at a 450, it doesn't even make the torque anywhere on that map that the 540 does. Ours starts off making more torque than that bike makes anywhere. I mean, we've been working on it a long time. We're super proud of it. I guess you could say, you know, for some guys will say, well, the 450 makes more power. Look right up there. I can make this 540 make more power than anything you've ever seen, but it's unusable, stupid power at 10,000 RPM. You just put a big ass throttle body on and hold it wide open. These bikes are super rideable. They make torque all over the place. Okay, so our 500s last year were 310 pounds with no fuel in the gas tank. We got no fuel in this gas tank. We're gonna weigh this bike. I know that the tunnel cooler and the hoses weigh 5 pounds. This customer, being my brother, he loves tunnel coolers. There's a tunnel cooler in it. So my bike would be 5 pounds less than this, maybe a little more less, because he's got taller bar risers. It's missing the front fender because they just didn't show up on time. But we do have a tool bag on the back, which is more weight. Okay, so whatever this number is, we're gonna weigh this for the first time. Whatever this number is, it's 5 pounds less, okay? So Derek, let's see what this baby weighs. I got my hand on it there. I'm trying to stable it. So there we are, 264. So this thing weighs 258. My bike would weigh 258 right now. That's incredible, right? 258 from 310. That's what we did, but the bikes are very expensive. Last year's bike is 40,000. We believe this bike's 90,000. That's Canadian dollars. If somebody wants one of these bikes, you got to order them. We're selling them like crazy, and it takes us a year to build them. You know, when you take something on like this, I worked with a lot of people, and I have a lot of thanks and gratitude for the way this bike, the progression of the build, what we created. You know, I don't want to forget anybody for the help they gave me, but, you know, Bruce Fitzgerald, Tempest 3D, you stood behind this build, Beta Canada, Race Tech Titanium, C3 Power Sports. I mean, it's just endless. Derek Graham, he worked his ass off on the engine with me. I mean, we dynoed 2,000 dyno runs trying to figure out how to do all this stuff, and then program the ECUs and the engines. It's just a non-stop list of people to thank. If I forget to thank you, I'm sorry, but God bless and have a beautiful day.